Hello
สวัสดีค่ะ
Hello How are you today
I'm fine
Fine Oh okay great Questions
What
for us
what different
What's
What's different
the
What's the difference between constantly
Constantly
and always or always
Always and constantly Constantly He always annoys me. He constantly annoys me. I think it's pretty much the same, but we use them in different sentences. So if someone said to me, he always annoys me, I expect them to say when. He always annoys me on Friday.
He always annoys
Me.
Annoys
Me on Friday. If you say he constantly annoys me, I feel like it happens and then it happens again. It's something that keeps happening, but it's not constant. When I hear someone said he constantly annoys me, I feel like he annoyed you at 12 o'clock, and then 1 o'clock, and then 2 o'clock, and then 3 o'clock, and then 4 o'clock. Maybe that's not right, but that's what I think. I think it keeps happening, but it doesn't happen constantly. When somebody says constantly, it means all the time, though. So that's why I'm a little bit confused why it doesn't seem the same to me. But anyway, the difference will be the sentence. So he always annoys me when I'm working. Usually when someone says always, they're going to give a time. He always annoys me when I'm trying to work. But when you use constantly, it probably just means forever. He constantly annoys me, and I won't expect someone to give me a time. But I think they're pretty much the same. If someone is always annoying you or constantly annoying you, it just keeps happening. It doesn't stop. So the only difference I can imagine is when someone uses it in a sentence. He is always stupid. He's constantly stupid. That doesn't really make sense. We would say he is always stupid. He's constantly stupid. I wouldn't say that. She is always running. She's constantly running. It seems the same to me. But like I said, some sentences will be different. Why don't you try? Because I can't really think of any differences when I'm sitting here. Maybe if you try, then I will be able to find a difference. You try. Always.
I always eat noodles
At
weekend.
On the weekend.
On the weekend.
Yeah. Exactly. If you say I constantly eat noodles, that means you never stop. Right? It's just like this. All day long. Never stopping. But I always eat noodles at work. I always eat noodles at 5 p.m. So always probably will have a time when you're doing it. And constantly means it never ends. Yeah. Okay, try constantly.
Never end. Never end.
Never end.
Never ends.
Right.
My mom constantly to take care of me.
Not to. My mom constantly.
About. Oh, no. Worries about me.
Yes. My mom always worries about me. My mom constantly worries about me. Those are the same. Yeah. Constantly, though, is probably a little bit bad, because when you try to say my mom constantly takes care of me, no. Constantly is a little bit bad. You are constantly irritating me, making me angry. We don't say you're constantly a great person. No, but you're always a great person. Yes. So when we're talking about
good thing, use always.
Yeah, always.
Always.
Constantly is going to be a problem. He constantly makes bad noises at work. Maybe.
Problem. Mistakes.
I don't know if it's a mistake, but it's something that is bad. A little bit bad. Or very bad. But not good. He constantly you could say he constantly performs well. And so it doesn't have to be bad, but it's a little bit bad when I first hear it. If I just heard someone saying, he constantly, I'm imagining something bad is coming. Until someone changes the sentence. They might say he constantly outperforms other people. He constantly does well on his tests. But when I first think about it, it's going to be bad a little bit. That's hard though. Good. Difficult though. As you can see, I can't think of very many differences. Just the sentences that are going to be different.
Should hear many times.
Yes, exactly.
Many times.
Yeah. That's why learning vocabulary doesn't work. You have to hear how people use them in sentences. So why don't you try a couple more so that you can remember the sentence for always. Make a couple always sentences.
Always.
Yeah.
My dad always goes to visit my grandma at weekend. On weekend.
At is British. Yeah.
At Friday.
On Friday.
On Friday.
Yeah.
At time, right?
At 5.
At 5.
Yeah. British people from England, they say at the weekend. But in America we say on the weekend. On the weekend.
Friday.
Yeah. My dad
at 5 p.m.
Yeah. My dad always goes to visit my grandma on Friday. Yeah. My dad constantly goes to visit my grandma. That means it's too much. If you told me, John, my dad constantly is going to visit my grandma or constantly visits my grandma, I feel like you are annoyed at your dad because he's visiting her too much. But if you just said he always goes to visit her, I don't feel good or bad. You're just telling me it happens a lot. Yeah. Good. Okay. One more.
I am always too
Late. Yes.
late
For-
or late
Late. For work.
for work.
Yeah, that's true. I'm constantly late for work. That doesn't really have any meaning to me. Also remember, always is the simple word. Constant is complicated, it's hard. So people are usually going to use always because it's easier to say. So constant and constantly are complicated. And so when you hear people talking, they'll choose the simple word first, which is always. They're not going to use constantly as much as always. Okay, that's fine. Another question?
No.
Okay,
thank
great.
you.
So it's time for another episode of
John's painful blah 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 history
reviews.
History.
But if it's a person, then it's a biography. We call it a biography.
biography.
Yeah.
Each person
If it's a person, the history of a person is a biography.
biography.
So, do you know who this is? This is going to be very hard because the other ones
I
are
can't
not
even
as they don't have as much history as this one does, and it's going to be very hard for me to express how American people feel about this. But anyway, I'll try. What do you know who this is?
I can't remember his name.
Why don't you show people?
But I know what he
What
he
he
was. If many movies I watched.
Of course.
It right.
Exactly. Do you remember his name at all?
I can't think about it.
Right. His name was Adolf Hitler.
Oh, Hitler.
Yes.
Hitler.
First name Adolf, last name Hitler.
He was soldier, not soldier.
He was a soldier in World War I, and then he became the
Lord.
dictator, the
What dictator?
Führer, the boss, the president of Germany, Nazi Germany. Anyway,
And he did bad thing.
many bad things, right? So we kind of think of Hitler like Hannibal Lecter, but Hannibal Lecter was not the president or the leader of a military.
He didn't kill other people a lot.
Not as many people. Well, it depends on how long he lives, right? He's eating people.
Probably because he didn't have power.
Exactly, right. Okay, so
And
this is going to be hard, but I'll try. So first of all, Hitler was. Can I have your pen? I forgot mine. Anyway, so Hitler was born in Austria, and he grew up there. I made a couple notes here just in case. I forgot to say. So my history reviews are, of course, filled with missing dates, simply yawning, mistakes, racism, confusion. And so if you really want to learn history, you should go to another class. But my class is to teach the feeling of people and places so that you understand when people are talking. That's it. Okay. So he grew up and he fought in World War I.
He what?
He fought.
Oh, he fought.
He was a soldier in World War I, and I didn't hear anything about that, but he fought pretty well. He got some decorations, some medals for fighting in World War I. I guess he was a pretty good soldier, but I don't know. I don't think very many people talk about that. They only talk about what happened after that. But anyway, he did fight in World War I. After that, he joined the German Workers' Party. It was called DAP, and that was in 1919. So remember,
Joy what?
Huh?
Joy what?
He joined a party in Germany that was called the German Workers' Party. So I don't know what parties you have in Thailand, but in America we have the Republicans and the Democrats.
Republican, the Democrat.
Remember, right? The blue ones and the red ones. So Trump is a Republican and Biden is a Democrat. Obama was a Democrat. Anyway, those are called parties. In Thailand, I don't know what parties you have, so I can't give an example. But anyway, there can be many parties in Thailand. Maybe one party wants to make more businesses, and one party wants to create more jobs or whatever. And do you know any parties in Thailand? Parties.
About group.
Groups for the government, for the different presidents.
Or like different idea.
Yes.
Two side.
Yes.
Yes, in government.
Okay, what's that word in Thai? What's the word for those parties? What do you call it when somebody has a group and they want certain things?
File.
Okay, anyway.
ฝ่ายค้าน and รัฐบาล
Okay, so anyway, in America we have two main parties, but in other countries sometimes there are hundreds of parties. I don't know how many there were in Germany, but so remember, the Titanic sailed in, I can't remember now, 1912 or something? So after the Titanic, a few years after that, Hitler joined the Workers' Party, and it was called the DAP. After that, he tried to become the leader of Germany, but he was too violent and too mean, and so the police grabbed him and put him in jail.
police in German.
Yeah, they threw him in jail because he was too crazy and he was making trouble and people didn't like him. So they threw him in jail. And when he was in jail, he wrote a book that is very famous. It's called Mein Kampf, which in German means something like my thinking or my ideas. Oh, I wrote it here. Sorry, it's called My Struggle, not my thinking.
My struggle.
My struggle in life, my problems in life. Anyway, after he got out of jail, he became the leader of the NSDAP, which is another party in Germany. It used to be the DAP, and then it became the NSDAP. I don't know what it stands for in German, you know. Anyway, but we just call it the NSDAP. Anyway, so after that, he got out of jail and he decided to run for president. They don't call it president, they call it chancellor or something. But anyway, he decided to run for president and he became elected. So at first, he tried to steal power. He tried to say, I'm gonna be the boss. And they threw him in jail. But then he ran for office. He said, okay, I'll be the president then. And people said, okay, great. So many people in America laugh about that because they think, well, if you didn't like him when he was crazy, then why did you like him when he was pretending to be a good person. Anyway, so he was like Hannibal Lecter in the beginning. He was eating people. And then people said, okay, throw him in jail. And then he gets out, he says, okay, let me be the leader. And everyone says okay, great. So they allowed him to become the leader. So after that, he became really strong in 1924 because Germany was really poor. Do you know where Germany is? How do you, just German? In Thai you say German, right?
German
Yeah, okay,
เยอรมัน
So Germany lost World War I, and so all the other countries made them pay a lot of money because they lost the war. And Germany was really, really poor. And German people were eating, garbage and horrible things. They had no money, and so they were really angry. And Hitler, he became the president, and he said, "We are great people. We deserve to be the rulers of the world." And everyone in Germany said, "Yes, exactly." So they were really happy that he became the leader, and he did a lot of things that made Germany rich again. He started putting money into industrialization, building new factories and new machines and everything like that. And so Germany started to do really well. They'd stopped paying money to other countries who demanded money from them after World War I. So World War I ended, everyone was angry at Germany, and then they said, okay, you have to pay, you have to pay, you have to pay, you have to pay. And then after that, Hitler said, okay, we're not paying anymore. We didn't do anything wrong. We are good people. Everyone else is bad. And we're going to be, we're going to take over everything. Anyway, he was very, very good at speaking. So if you watch videos of him when he was speaking, all German people are like this. They were really interested in the way that he spoke. Some people think he had some type of magic or evil.
They were scared of him.
I don't think so. But some people think that he had some type of evil magic or something because when he spoke, people listened and they were captivated like this. Wow. Anyway, so he said, so he hated communists.
Your friend?
He probably hated these people as well. So he hated communists, capitalism, and Jewish people, right? And handicapped people, disabled people, anyone with some type of disability. So let's describe these. So remember what communism is? We're going to talk about communism in the next one, but we just need a little bit today to understand this.
How, the way to...
Just like you said, North Korea. North Korea.
No Korea.
North Korea.
What North Korea?
You said last time, I said, what's communism? And you said North Korea.
I forgot. I said no.
Yes. You know North Korea.
Oh, North Korea.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's communism. China has some type of communism, but it's not the same anymore. It used to be until 30 years ago. And then the Soviet Union, Russia, used to be communist.
Still now? Russia?
Not
Russia.
anymore. No, that ended in 1991. And also capitalism. Do you know what capitalism is?
Capital?
Capitalism.
I don't know.
So the United States, we say, is capitalist. So that means that the economy is private. So if I make a company in the United States and the company does really well, I own the company. I choose what the company does and I make the money from the company. I choose who works for me and what the company does. In communism, the government owns the company. and they put somebody in charge of the company who they think is going to do a good job. So in capitalism, it's easier for someone who's poor to become rich. In communism, it's almost impossible. And then Jewish people. So do you know what Jewish is? So there's some religions, right? We have Christian,
Buddha.
Buddhist,
บอแขกอะมุสลิม
yes, Muslim, and there's one more, which is Jewish. Jewish.
What country?
Not
For example, I can't
well
think
now
about it.
Israel.
Israel means
That's the country. Israel.
Israel.
Yes.
Oh,
So most people from Israel are Jewish.
Jewish.
Okay. So there were a lot of Jewish people in Germany and in many countries in Europe at that time. So many German people didn't like Jewish people because they thought that they didn't like the religion, they didn't like the way that they owned businesses, and
Similar like Muslim, a little bit.
Not really, but more like Christian. I would say closer to Christian people than Muslim. But anyway, so German people hated communism, they hated capitalism, and they also hated Jewish people. And Hitler said, I hate all of these people also. And so people in Germany were really happy. They say, great, this is the perfect person for us. So anyway, Hitler became the chancellor. Still now in Germany, they call the leader the chancellor. That's just the name that they use. It could be president, could be prime minister. I think in Thailand you use the same word as British people, which is prime minister, but I'm not sure. I think it's prime minister, but I don't know. Anyway, in America we say president. In Germany they say chancellor. They still say chancellor today. But anyway, Hitler became chancellor in 1933, on 30th of January, 1933. So remember, he was like Hannibal Lecter. He's like, I'm going to take over Germany. And people said, no, you're not. And they threw him in jail. And then he got out of jail and he said, okay, I'll run for president. And they said, great, you're a great guy. So then he became chancellor. For 6 years, he did a lot of things that German people liked. He took land around Germany that had German-speaking people who lived there. So like, for example, let's say in Thailand, on the border between Thailand and Laos or Myanmar, maybe there's some people there who speak Thai, right? And so Germany took that land. There were people who lived on the border, maybe in France or I don't know which countries, maybe in Austria. But anyway, they took that land because there were German people who lived there. So Germany became bigger because they took the land from those people. And German people were really happy because they said, great, those are our friends, those are our brothers, and now they're coming back to Germany. They're not lost anymore to those other countries. So Germany took, it's called annexed. We call it annexing. If you take some land from another country that has people in it, we call it annexing. So they took land from other countries that had German-speaking people there, and it made people in Germany really happy. And so they were they said, okay, Hitler's doing a great job. They started making a lot of money. He improved the economy, and they became rich again. And Germany started to grow really quickly. And the companies improved, the economy improved, and they started to make a lot of money. They hated Britain, English people, and France, because they had trouble with France and England in World War I, and probably forever, for hundreds of years, probably. So do you know what Britain is?
อังกฤษ
Right. And what do we also call Britain?
UK
Yes, the UK. So remember,
US America
yeah, I'm from the US, or Chile, as Sifty says sometimes. And we also have the UK, which is United
USA
Kingdom. USA, but we say US, United States of America, but we just say US. And then UK is Britain, United Kingdom. They also speak English, right? And then France. So German people hated France, and they hated the UK. And they were saying, okay, these people are horrible. They ruined our country. We were poor because of them, and we gotta pay them back for all of their bad things that they did. After that, Germany had a huge army. They had really, really advanced technology. Still now, if you buy something from Germany, people think German technology is really, really great. They make BMW cars, Mercedes cars. They make, I'm not sure if Rolls-Royce, I don't know what type of engine, they might make something for airplanes, I'm not sure. But they built a lot of technology that was much more advanced and better still now than other countries. And so their technology for fighting weapons were also much better than other countries. And so people in Germany didn't want to be poor anymore. They didn't want to have just a small country anymore. And they said, okay, we're going to take over Europe. And Hitler said, okay, we got to be the leaders of all this land. It should be ours. It shouldn't be France and Belgium and Austria and the UK. It's going to be just Germany. So on September 1st, 1939, that's when World War II started. That's when Germany invaded. That's when your army goes into another country. It's called invaded Poland. And when they went into Poland, Britain, the UK, and France said, okay, now we're going to fight, because they said Germany is trying to take over. Eventually, Germany would try to take over Britain and France. So they said, okay, well then this is war now. So that's when World War II started, 1939. So after that, things were very good in Germany. Their tanks, you know what a tank is? Looks like a car, but it has a gun on it.
big car for soldier
But it has a gun on it, a big gun on the top.
and
Yeah, treads. What do you call that in Thai?
รถถัง
Oh, okay, yeah, exactly. That's a tank.
ถังแทง
The Germans had really, really great tanks. They had really, really great airplanes. They had everything better than the United States and Britain and France at that time. And so in the beginning, Germany did really, really well. They destroyed France. They destroyed Poland. They destroyed all the countries around them, and they took over most of Europe and of Africa, North Africa. After that, Hitler decided to invade the Soviet Union. Now we say Russia, right? Russia is really, really, really big, right? What do you say in Thai? Russia.
Russia.
Russia or something?
Russia.
So at that time, though, it was communist, and it was called the USSR or the CCCP, and they were communist. And of course, Hitler hated communists, and so German people did also. And so they decided to take over the Soviet Union, which is really, really big. And in the beginning, they did really, really well. The Soviet army, which is called the Red Army, they like things in Russia, like they like to call it red. They called it the Red Army. They destroyed most of the Red Army very, very quickly. There are stories of, people in Russia trying to attack the tanks with sticks and rocks because they didn't have anything. They didn't have the right guns to fight against Germans. So the German army killed so many people when they went through Europe because their technology was so much better than everyone else that nobody could fight them. And when people tried to fight them, they just got killed because they didn't have the right weapons to fight. They just had sometimes sticks or rocks. So when the German army went into the Soviet Union, and it's called the Nazi army. So I'll show you. This is the flag from Nazi Germany. It's called a swastika. Swastika. I think, I'm not sure in German. I think it's Iron Cross. Yeah, iron. It translates into English as Iron Cross. So a cross is like Christian cross, but they call it the Iron Cross, which is this.
Iron
means metal.
Iron Cross.
Iron Cross. Now, in Asia, in Japan, this symbol, not slanted, but like this, means temple. So sometimes people go to Japan, they say, why are there Nazi? In America, we don't usually see this symbol except with Germany and Nazi. But in other countries, in Japan, this means temple. And this is an old symbol like this. But Hitler is this way. So the one that means temple is like this, and the one that is German is like this. It's a little bit different angle. The other one is flat, and this one is this way. Anyway, so that was the Nazi flag in the Nazi army. So as they went into the Soviet Union, into Russia, they killed millions of people. And what happened, though, is that when they got to the capital of Russia, or the Soviet Union, which is called, do you know what the capital of Russia is? The capital of Thailand is what?
Bangkok.
Yes. The capital of Russia, or the capital of the Soviet Union, is Moscow. Moscow. Yes. So they almost got to Moscow, but then the winter came. And the winter in Russia is really, really, really horrible. And the German army was not ready for fighting in the wintertime. But the Soviet army, the Red Army, was very, very good at fighting in the snow. It's their country. They knew how to do it. And so that was one of the turning points of the war when the other side started to win. So Germany, there were two sides in World War II. There was the Axis, that was the bad guys. That was Germany, Japan, and Italy, where my family's from. Part of my family's from Italy. My grandfather actually, he came to the United States, but he went back to Italy during World War II and fought against the United States in Italy. He was captured by the United States Army and he lived in prison for the war. But he wasn't killed, so that's why I'm still here. That's why I'm here. Anyway, he came back to the United States after the war and he lived in the United States until he died. Anyway, he lived to be 96 or 97, I can't remember. But my grandma still has some medals of from Italy that he got for fighting the war against the United States. So there was two sides. The bad guys, we call them the Axis powers. Axis was Germany, Nazi Germany, Italy,
and Japan.
And the other side was pretty much everyone else. But the main people were the United States, Britain, France, the Soviet Union, China, and many other countries. Brazil even fought, pretty much everyone else against Germany. But not everyone had an army. So the main ones were, I wrote it down here, France, United States, United Kingdom, the Soviet Union, Russia, and China. Those were the countries that had enough money and military to fight against Germany. The other side was, the Axis side was?
German, Japan, and Italy?
In Italy, exactly. So Germany started to lose in the Soviet Union because the winter came and they couldn't fight in the snow. They tried to leave the Soviet Union. They tried to go back to Germany, but the snow came, and then the Russian army started to kill them as they were trying to run away back to Germany, and they were really, really badly destroyed. Anyway, the United States did not want to be part of World War II in the beginning, and because nobody wants to fight and to lose money and to pay for all the ships and weapons that people use in a battle, and people were tired already from World War I and all the other battles. But on December 7th, 1941, Japan dropped bombs on United States ships in Hawaii in a port there called Pearl Harbor. So Japan thought that because at that time there were a lot of American boats there in Pearl Harbor, and Japan thought that if they could destroy those boats while they were all together, then the United States would not be able to fight in the war. Because at that time, Britain and France and the Soviet Union were losing. And so the United States, Germany and Japan knew that if the United States joined the war, they would not join Germany. They would, of course, join the UK and France. So they didn't want the United States to join because it would be against them. So Japan bombed the American ships in Pearl Harbor. If you go to Pearl Harbor today, you can still see there are boats that are in the water, that are sunk, that are, because the water there is not very deep, so some of the boats you can still see that in the water there that were sunk by the Japanese airplanes. So after that, after 1941, December 7th, 19 ships, they destroyed 19 boats that America had. And then the President of the United States said, okay, we are going to join Britain and France and fight Germany and Japan and Italy. So Japan was really, really strong. Germany was really, really strong. Italy, I don't know, they were not as powerful as Germany and Japan. Really, it was just Germany and Japan. Italy, there are jokes. I used to talk with some Chinese students, and they have jokes in China. They say that during the war, when Italian people were captured, they only had 1 or 2 guns, but they had a lot of wine.
Italy like to eat and drink, right?
Yeah, they like to drink. That's just a bad joke about
But probably it's real.
about my family. But anyway, that's what some people say. Not just in China, but in other countries also. So after that, things started to go bad for Germany and Japan, not just because the United States joined the war, but because they made some mistakes and they lost a lot of people in the Soviet Union in the snow, in the war in the snow. Anyway, so a couple more things that I didn't put in line here. So German people hated communists, capitalists, and Jewish people. We call the German government at that time fascist. Fascism.
Fascism.
Fascist.
Fascist.
Yeah, or fascism.
Fascist.
So remember, that's a party, right? So and it's not a party. It's an economy style, maybe government style. So fascism is when you have a dictator or a boss at the top of the country, and then all of the economy is pretty much controlled by the government. There's usually just one leader though who controls everything. And in Germany and in Italy, that's what they had. We call it fascism. And Hitler was the dictator of Germany, and Italy was Mussolini. His name was Mussolini. In Japan, we don't really consider it, it's like fascism, but it's not the same. So we only consider fascists as Germany and Italy at that time. Japan had a different type of system that I didn't research enough to talk about. Anyway, fascist is a bad word, and if you call someone a fascist or a country fascist, that's really bad. If someone says, your country is fascist, that's a horrible thing. That's saying that it's like Germany or like Nazi systems. Especially in Russia, this word is really, really bad they use this word in some of their songs and in some of their army songs, and usually fasciski, I think they call it. It's like a devil or like Hannibal Lecter. But anyway, fascism means a dictator, or we call it a guy or a leader who is the boss of everything, and then the economy, which is usually controlled by them. But there could be private businesses. It's not the same as communism, because there could be, someone could own a business, but if Hitler doesn't like your business, then it's gonna be destroyed. Anyway, so Pearl Harbor was destroyed, and so then the United States joined the war. In the beginning, the United States didn't do very well. Germany had much better technology, much better weapons, and they used to have really, really great submarines. Remember what a submarine is? It's the boat that goes under the water.
Nuclear.
They can be nuclear, but they don't have to be. It's a boat that can go under the water. What do you call that?
เรือดำน้ำ
Okay, so they had really, really great submarines. They were called U-boats. And America tried to send ships to Britain, to the UK, with food and guns and gold or materials to build weapons, and then the U-boats would sink them. So there were a lot of American ships that got sunk in the ocean when they were trying to go to Europe to give them weapons and guns to help fight Germany. And of course, Germany didn't want those ships to go to the UK, so they sank them. And a lot of American ships were sunk in the beginning because of those U-boats. And there are many movies about that that you can find. Anyway, this is a little bit difficult, but so why do people think that Hitler was so bad? Because of what is called the Holocaust.
What Holocaust?
Holocaust. So
Holocaust.
yeah. So in 1941 until 1945, 6 million Jewish people were killed in Germany. They used to make rooms that had gas in them, and they would put all of the people in there, and then they would kill them all. And they had prisons just to kill people. So it wasn't just Jewish people, it was also gay people, people who had problems, mental problems. So like if you couldn't, Thai people say not 100%. Usually Thai people say he's not 100%, right? Like crazy. So that means mentally disabled. So in Germany, Hitler thought that all of those people, gay people, Jewish people, people who didn't have an arm, or people who were gay, should be killed. And only the strongest German people who had blonde hair and blue eyes should be saved. And so they killed at least 6 million people in jails and in prisons and in gas chambers to get rid of them all. So we learned about this already. Einstein, if you remember, was Jewish. So that's why he came to the United States. Because in 1939, Hitler started World War II. Before that, he became the leader. And so Jewish people who had enough money or who could leave, they didn't go back to Germany. He was German, but he had to leave because he knew that if he stayed there, he would have been killed. So probably he would have been killed if he stayed in Germany. That's why he came to the United States.
But probably Hitler wouldn't kill.
Wouldn't have? He probably would have.
Because he's very smart.
But they didn't care. That didn't matter.
Right.
So if he was in Germany, he probably would have been killed, or he would have been in jail, and he wouldn't have been able to do what he did. So anyway, 11 million people, 6 million Jewish people, and 11 million other people were killed by Hitler and the SS. They call it the SS. Anyway, the secret police in Germany. Everything in that time people think is horrible. The government watching everyone. If they didn't like you, they killed you. You had to fight against. You had to join the army and fight against the Soviet Union or against Britain. If you had something wrong with you, if you were missing an arm, or if they didn't like your religion, or you were gay or something, they just killed you. So most people in the world thought that even at that time that Germany was evil. Before that, before the war, some people liked what Hitler was doing, even in Britain. But after the war started, and they started to kill people and exterminate people, most people in the world thought that Germany was evil, even during the war. After that, now it's very, very clear, and people are arrested sometimes for this symbol. In Germany, in America, you can have things with this symbol, but the police will be a little bit worried. Like if I had this swastika on a flag in the United States, in my room in the United States, and the police saw it, I wouldn't be arrested, but they would say, "What are you doing?" You know, like maybe we should do some research about this guy. But in Germany, you can't have this symbol. If you have things with this symbol on it now, you can be arrested. You take to jail. Take you to jail. Also, another thing that the German people used to do, the Nazis, was their salute. And you'll see it in the movies. They used to go like this. This called, they said Heil Hitler. Means like
Hello, Hitler.
not hello, but like leader or boss, or
Like, hey.
more respect than that. Not just hey, but like you're great or you're amazing, something like that. In Germany, you can't do that anymore. Even today, if you go to Germany and you go like this and you say Heil Hitler, you could be arrested. In the United States, you won't be arrested, but people will be, they're gonna be like, you might be crazy or something like that. Another thing that you'll always see in the movies is how many people died in Russia. So the Soviet Union, Russia now, like I said, they didn't have a lot of technology. And so when the Germans came, it was really horrible for them. They were fighting against tanks with sticks and rocks sometimes, and they lost about 27 million people in the war against Germany. 8 million of them were military people, and then the rest, the other 20 million, were civilian people that were not in the military, because the German army killed them when they came through the towns, or there was no food and they died. Sometimes the German army would go around a town and they would say, okay, you have to surrender. And people in the town didn't want to surrender, so they would starve. And they would eat their dogs or their cats or whatever they had, and because they didn't want to give up to Germany. They didn't want to say, okay, we give up, because the Germans would have killed them anyway, or they would have been slaves. So if you watch those movies, a lot of them you will see the battles in the Soviet Union against the Red Army. The United States also fought many battles against Germany, and a lot of them were not very good. We might watch a movie about it. There's a famous movie called Saving Private Ryan about the American invasion of France in Normandy. It's a beach there called Normandy. The Germans knew that America was going to try to get an army onto Europe. And so they built walls and guns, and they're called encampments or emplacements, along the beaches in France, because they knew that the United States was going to try to find a way to come into Europe. And so when the United States finally tried to invade, it wasn't just the United States, it was the United States, Canada, Britain, Australia. When the United States tried to go into France, because Germany already took over France, it wasn't France, it was Germany then, Nazi Germany, then they were ready. And when the American army came, they killed most of the soldiers who tried to get onto the beach in Normandy. Anyway, that's most of what happened. At the end, Hitler, right before the Red Army and the United States Army and the British Army came into Germany, Germany started to lose, and so all the different armies started to come into Germany from different sides and to take over Berlin. That's the capital of Germany. So they were all going to Germany, and Hitler knew that he was going to lose, and so he married his girlfriend, Eva Braun, 2 days before they committed suicide, and he died. He killed himself with a gun, I think. He shot himself.
After he married?
Yeah, 2 days after that. And in 1945. So he killed him and his wife killed themselves, and that was the end of Hitler. So I just wrote a couple more things here to talk about in Thailand. So Japan, I think in Thailand probably you don't know as much about Germany. Usually in America we talk more about Germany than Japan, but Japan was also a big part of the war, but usually when people think of World War II, they think of Germany first and then Japan second. So after the Germany was defeated, after Germany lost, there were a lot of scientists in Germany who were really, really smart, like Einstein, and there were a lot of other ones. There was Werner von Heinsberg and other quantum physicists, nuclear physicists, and when Einstein came to the United States, he told the American president, FDR I think it was, that you should start building a nuclear bomb because Germany is trying to do it. So the United States built, and in the other show when I was talking about it, I made a lot of mistakes. But anyway, Oppenheimer was not German.
I can remember.
Anyway, so Einstein said, you need to start building nuclear technology because Germany is trying to do it. And a lot of people in America were scared that if Germany built a nuclear bomb, that they would be able to win the war. And actually they had a lot of technology. It wasn't as close as people thought, but they were trying to do it. The United States spent a huge amount of money, and all of the scientists pretty much in the United States, not all, but a lot of nuclear physicists went to work on building nuclear weapons, which was called the Manhattan Project. And it cost a huge amount of money, and it made two types of nuclear weapons, which were dropped on Japan. So when the United States and all of the other allies beat Germany, Japan was still strong. And the United States military thought that if they had to invade Japan, like they did in Germany, they would lose 100,000 people or more. So they dropped 2 nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan.
United States.
Yes. And that is one of the things that a lot of people in the world
2 nuclear bombs.
Yeah, on 2 cities in Japan. And they were not military cities, they were just people there. And a lot of people in the world still now think that that is might not have been necessary to do that. And so some people after that lost some respect for the United States because of that. But at the time, the United States had lost so many people fighting Japan and Germany that they decided that it was necessary to do. But looking back, not everyone agrees with that now. Anyway, so I just want to talk about a couple things for Japan in Thailand, because I was looking at the Wikipedia page before I do this. I try to make sure that I don't have anything too wrong. I don't really care about specific details because Sipti is not going to remember the specific details. We just need the general idea, which is what most Americans have, and that's what I'm just trying to do. But I want to make sure I'm not doing anything too confusing. Anyway, so Thailand in World War II. Most American people don't know anything about Thailand in World War II, but Thailand was in World War II. Probably Thai people know much better than me, but anyway, I'm just going to say what I saw. So Japan invaded Thailand in 1941 on December 8th because Britain, the UK, had military bases in Rangoon, in Myanmar, and in other areas around Thailand. And so Japan thought that if they could build a military base in Thailand, that they could attack America and British military in Myanmar. So the Japanese army or navy maybe, I don't know, invaded Japan in 1941. And they told the Thai government, okay, you guys want to work with us? And probably the Thai government said, I guess we have to. I didn't do very much research about that. But anyway, let's just pretend that probably Thailand did not have the strength to resist the Japanese military. They couldn't fight against Japan. But anyway, Japan invaded from the south somewhere, I don't know where, probably near Bangkok or something. And the Thai government sent a message to the ambassador in the United States. And the ambassador is the person from the government who is in another country. So in Thailand, you have an ambassador who is in the United States. He's Thai. I don't know who he is now. We could look him up. But he works in the embassy in Thailand.
ทูตเหรอ
Yeah, I don't know what he's called. But if there's any messages from Thailand that need to go to the United States, they go to him. So in that time, there was an ambassador in America, and the Japanese army or the Thai government or whatever sent him a message and said, okay, you need to tell the United States that we're going to fight the United States.
ไทย
Yeah, maybe Thai government or maybe Japanese government, I don't know. But anyway, they told him in America, they said, okay, you have to tell the United States that we're going to fight the United States. And he said no. He said, I'm not going to tell the United States that. And because of that, the United States never declared war on Thailand. So if he would have given that paper to the U.S. president, if he would have said, okay, Thailand is going to fight the United States, then the United States would have said, we're going to fight Thailand. But because he didn't give that paper, the United States never declared war on Thailand. So that's why Thailand did not fight with the United States. But Japan was in Thailand, and the United States and Britain knew that, and Japan started to attack other countries near, not Thailand, but the Japanese army in Thailand started to attack Rangoon and other
เมียนมา
Myanmar and other cities. So the United States
เวียด
and
นาม
I don't know about Vietnam, but maybe Cambodia.
เฟนเวียดนามเฟน attack
There could have been French in Vietnam, right? And so the United States and Britain bombed Bangkok. In 1942, the British, the RAF, it's called the Royal Air Force, and the United States, probably after that, they dropped bombs on Bangkok. They attacked the power plants and the water facilities. So there was no power in Bangkok because of American and British.
we have movie about that
I never heard about that. But anyway, that's what... So the United States did bomb Bangkok and the RAF, the British Air Force. Okay, the guy, I wrote his name here. His name was Seni Pramaj. He was the ambassador in the United States.
ambassador means ทูต the who can talk between
Yes.
two country
Well, he lived in the United States. So there's an American ambassador in Thailand. He probably lives in Bangkok. And if the United States government wants to talk with someone, they tell him, and probably he can speak Thai, and so he could talk with Thai government if the United States wanted to say something. And it's an ambassador. Anyway, his name, I can't pronounce it, but Seni Pramaj, he said, I'm not going to give this message. And
he's my hero นะ
well, I don't know what would have
Smart
happened.
enough.
I don't know what would have happened. But anyway, after that, we're running we're running late here. After that, the Japanese army in Thailand helped Thailand to take some land near Cambodia and near Laos. And after the war, the United States, a few countries told Thailand, you have to do a few things and then we'll forgive you. One of them was to give those lands back to Laos and to Cambodia. The Soviet Union, Russia, told Thailand, you can't say communism is bad. So I don't know exactly what happened, but after the war, Thailand had some law that said communism is bad. And the Soviet Union said, if you want us to forgive you, you have to say that communism is okay. And the United States said, and the British said, you have to give those lands back to...
Yes, and Thai gave back.
Yeah. So that was because of the United States. They said you have to do it or you can't join the United Nations. Anyway, the invasion of Normandy we call D-Day. So Saving Private Ryan, we call that D-Day. Famous movies.
This movie very good.
I don't know if it's good. America gets crushed. But
High
anyway,
score.
it was
Top
well-made
10
movie.
most.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a happy movie, but yeah, it's well
Not
made.
happy,
Yes,
but-
it's well made. Yes.
But good story.
Yes. Okay, anyway, so that's all.
A lot of detail.
Yes. Anyway, after that, the United States went into Germany and the Soviet Union went into Germany and they took all of the technology. They took all of the smart people that were in Germany, all of the scientists, and they came to the United States and a lot of them built a lot of the rocket and military technology that the United States had after that for the Cold War. And I'll talk about that next time. But anyway, that's what's his name?
Hitler.
Adolf Hitler in World War. Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. So, who is this? If someone asks you someday and says, Sipti, who's this person?
He was the leader in leader
The Chancellor.
chancellor in Germany.
Nazi Germany.
In Germany.
Yeah, Nazi Germany. They call it Nazis.
Nazi Germany.
Yeah, he was because of the party was the Nazi party.
Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
And he wanted to
Take over.
take over every country in Europe.
Yeah.
And he thought he had terrible idea about people.
Yeah, I think so.
And he killed a lot of people, like Finland, Russia,
Communists.
communist Russia, and Jewish or something,
Right, yes, Jewish people.
and
Gay people.
and other people, many millions
Yes.
people, and but because he smart and had a lot of power, and in his country, in Germany, had a lot of technology or weapon, he could fight for a while
Yes.
until he came to Russia, and he almost got.
He wasn't there. He was in Germany, but
He's
the German army. Yes.
Almost got Russia capital.
Moscow to Moscow, right?
Moscow. But the winter came.
Well, not just the winter, but they started to lose. Yeah, the Red Army started to defeat them, and then the winter came, and it got much worse. Yeah.
And that made him lost.
Lose.
Lost.
Not just that. There were many battles. There were battles in Africa, in North Africa, in the ocean. But yeah, that was one of the bad,
Time
the worst.
to get down.
Time to get down?
Low life.
When
Down
things
life.
when things got worse.
When things got worse.
Things got worse.
Things got worse.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's right, exactly. The main thing is that if you imagine Hannibal Lecter, Dr. Lecter, as but with a really great army, then that's kind of what people imagine. So when people in America see Hitler, everyone knows who Hitler is. Everyone in the United States knows who Hitler is. Nobody thinks Hitler is a good person. It would be hard for you to find someone who said, I agree with Hitler.
But
Usually,
he was smart.
I don't know about really smart, but German people are very smart, and they have a lot of great technology and a lot of really, really smart scientists at that time and still now. And so the war was really, really brutal because of how much more advanced they were in the beginning. Towards the end, it wasn't, because they didn't have very many men left. So many young men died in Russia and in battles that towards the end of the war, they didn't have young people anymore to fight. But in the beginning, they had the best of everything. Anyway, so in the United States, you can usually find people that agree with anything. Like even communism. You can go to the United States and you can find some people who say communism is great.
Because US is freedom.
Not is.
Oh.
Has? Has
freedom.
Yeah, some people say that. And you can usually find people that have different opinions about everything. But about Hitler, it would be hard to find someone in the United States who said, I agree with Hitler. So it's a rare, some people in the United States might even like Hannibal Lecter, but it would be very hard to find someone in the United States who said, I think Hitler was just trying to, fix a problem.
Probably he was devil became to be.
That's what many people would say.
Human to clean the world.
Of good things. Right, exactly. So anyway, if you watch stories or hear people talking, it's always going to be bad, and hopefully now you can guess why. If you hear stories or movies.
Usually movie made about bad war, terrible things he did, and technology.
Yes.
Smart people.
Yes.
Destroy other people, other country.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
Anyway, so that's the end of our. That was very long. Hopefully, there weren't too many mistakes. I'm sure when I watch it again, I will. I'll notice all the mistakes. But anyway, that's what's his name?
Hitler.
Adolf Hitler.
Adolf.
Right.
Gandalf.
Anyway, Gandalf. No, Adolf. Anyway, that's it. Any questions?
About his family. What happened with his family?
I don't know if he had any brothers or sisters. Him and his wife died.
Died together?
Yeah, they committed suicide.
They didn't have cousin or aunt?
I don't know. There probably were family members, but after the war, if they weren't killed, they changed their names and they hid because they would have probably been killed otherwise. I don't know what happened to his mom and dad. I didn't research it, and I don't think that many people in America know. I don't hear anything about his parents. He was an artist. He used to draw pictures of cities. Other than that, I don't know very much about his life. Yeah. Anyway, any questions? Any other questions? Thanks so much. If you want to see Adolf Sipti invading your country, just check her out on Instagram. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Bye
ขอบคุณ
bye.
ค่ะ